Hello and welcome to our first feeding of our two systems. I opened up the lid of the Hungry Bin and the Urban Worm Bag, and we're going to be feeding these guys up today. I wanted to, of course, you can see the crawling, all the worms. Look at all that. Those are all the worms that are crawling because it is very moist. It always gets to be too moist in my opinion, and if I was to leave the lid closed, which I do because I'm running the experiment, then this is what happens. So, oh well, there's really nothing to be done about that. So there's plenty of bedding right now here, and what I'm going to do is actually feed on top of the existing bedding and cover it up with more bedding. That's what I do with these particular systems. I don't pocket feed in a continuous flow through system. So I sort of weighed out the food to make sure that each system would get the exact amount of food so that we don't, feed one more, the other less, and then, have issues with one and then not with the other. It wouldn't be fair. So this is about 1.5 pounds of food. Now I do have over 3,000 worms in there. So feeding them, don't breathe that in, feeding them 1.5 pounds on a weekly basis is not a lot. The bin is established because the material that went in there was from my existing totes that were running for quite a while. So that's what I do. I will cover this up. I'm really not worried about fruit flies or anything like that, but this will remain closed. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I have a lot of bedding. You can see all this bedding, and that is also to help absorb some of the moisture. But this stuff is really compacted. I don't like to dig in these systems. You can see everything once I remove the paper. It's very dark. It's very compacted and it's worked over. So let's see. Oh yeah, super compacted, which is the way it should be. These systems get compacted and push everything to the bottom, and that's when you harvest at the bottom, and this all stays intact. So what I'm going to do here is the same. Now I'm not going to add paper at the bottom too much because we do have a lot of paper here. So I'm going to sort of just make a pocket right there like that. And I'm going to put the food right on top. I'm not pocket feeding. I'm just making a space in the middle. Adding some more eggshells. And these guys are going to be really happy with this feeding summer fruit. That's what we have now. Again, the same amount. And I already put the eggshells there. And then this will get covered up by the existing paper that's already in the bin, and I'm going to lock it out. But you can see that both systems were closed, and whereas the hungry bin has a lot of springtails and worms crawling, this one does not. So this would probably indicate that the urban worm bag does breathe better and lets air in a lot more efficiently than the hungry bin. I would suggest to the manufacturer of the hungry bin to make larger holes and a lot more of them. Even maybe put some on the side right underneath the lid, because otherwise, yeah, it's a battle I've been having since last year. So, okay, so we've done a feeding. We will let these two systems. Oops, forgot to close it. Let these two systems go, and we'll check in a week. And I know that the urban worm bag is probably going to have condensation. I've had that before, but that only happens when I give them a nice sizable feeding. Whereas the hungry bin, I did notice, and you saw it as well, that without even feeding it, it had moisture all over and the worms were climbing. So we will see next week what is happening. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you then.